The movie unfolds in northern Iraq, where a team of American snipers is on a mission to evacuate Yusuf-Abad, a terrorist leader, along with his family. As news of the approaching soldiers reaches the terrorists, tensions escalate as they prepare to defend their territory. During a critical moment, the snipers spot Yusuf and his vehicle. Despite their disagreement with Yusuf's terrorist background, they follow orders for political reasons. Yusuf requests the soldiers' protection, believing they possess vital information that could be of use. Meanwhile, some members of the terrorist group take a secret route towards the pickup point, determined to prevent their leader from being captured. Their main target is to neutralize the sniper squad. However, one of the snipers manages to take down a terrorist who had located him. First, Dawson. Suddenly, a sniper shoots and kills Dawson. Then, Frank, who is also a U.S. soldier and the leader of the sniper squad, takes off his earpiece, leaves his spot, and goes to help Dawson, even though another sniper named Timothy warns him not to move. As a result, the situation becomes chaotic when the terrorists surround them, leaving them with no escape. This compels Frank to do something he didn't plan for and didn't expect. He ends up killing the leader of the terrorists and his family in order to protect themselves. This haunting incident continues to affect Frank even a decade later, during his life in Las Cruces, New Mexico, after leaving the military. He seeks solace in a support group, but struggles to share the heavy burden of his actions with others. Currently, Frank runs an auto repair shop, which serves as his primary source of income. After completing work with his staff member, Pedro, he invites him to dinner, but Pedro politely declines due to a prior commitment. As the sun sets, Frank's evening takes an unexpected turn as he joins his loved ones, Cassie and stepdaughter Shannon, for a delightful family dinner. But the excitement peaks when Cassie playfully suggests a weekend adventure. There's just one hitch. Frank needs to deliver a repaired car to a customer, who happens to be an old acquaintance, a crime lord from his past. Cassie, determined to make the most of the weekend, insists on tagging along, and even Shannon adds her persuasive charm to sway Frank's decision. Finally, he agrees, and the trio is set for an unforgettable journey. The next day brings Frank face to face with danger at the crime lord's residence, where he encounters the imposing figure of Nelson and a mysterious young lady. Then he says she's too young, but Nelson questions if he's lost. The man explains he's there to deliver something, and Nelson calls him a grease monkey, but offers to guide him. Frank insists he knows the way and tries to leave, but Nelson stops him, and they start fighting. As Nelson pulls out a knife, a man called Lazarus, who is known as the right hand of the crime lord, shows up and breaks up the fight. Lazarus then takes Frank to meet the crime lord named Leo. It turns out that Leo, the crime lord, is celebrating his daughter Nikki's birthday. The poignant moment arrives when Nikki herself requests permission to ride her treasured birthday gift, a bike lovingly given by her father. Inside the mansion, tensions simmer as Leo instructs Nelson to watch over Nikki. However, Nelson expresses his objections, wondering why he's constantly the one running errands, which understandably upsets Leo. In response, Leo sternly tells Nelson that if he ever speaks to him like that again, he'll ask Lazarus to teach him a lesson by taking away his ability to speak. Amidst the emotions, Frank receives an envelope filled with cash, generously more than what's required to cover the car repairs. His curiosity piqued, Frank soon discovers Leo's hidden agenda, an unexpected job offer to return to a life he once knew, a hitman for the crime lord. Though tempted, Frank firmly declines, standing true to his principles. The journey back home is laden with emotions, but it's only the beginning of a haunting night for Frank. Memories from his past resurface in a chilling nightmare, compelling him to seek solace in a late-night call to Timothy. But when Timothy picks up, he stays quiet and doesn't say anything. But fate has another cruel twist in store. The next day, heart-wrenching news spreads like wildfire. Nikki has tragically lost her life in a hit-and-run accident. Witnessing Leo's raw grief strikes a chord in Frank's heart, leaving him deeply moved by the love a father held for his daughter. Cassie senses that something is troubling Frank, but he keeps his emotions guarded, unwilling to open up. When Lazarus calls, Frank intentionally ignores it. Not long after, Lazarus and his gang pay Frank a visit, revealing that Leo wants his help in avenging his daughter's death. Initially, Frank firmly declines, expressing his desire to distance himself from the dangerous world of gangsters, insisting that he's moved on from that life. However, Lazarus's menacing threats leave Frank feeling cornered, and he reluctantly agrees to assist. Back at home, Cassie spots Lazarus and Leo's men lingering outside their house late at night, raising her concern. Frank reassures her, claiming it's just a matter of old business and unrelated to them. Shannon interrupts, asking Frank to tuck her in, momentarily diverting Cassie's attention. When Frank explains that he has to leave, Cassie pleads with him to stay, leading to an emotional outburst and tension between them. Despite the heated exchange, Frank assures Cassie he won't hurt her and eventually departs. Arriving at Leo's place, Frank finds the crime lord still grappling with the loss of his daughter. Leo expresses his thirst for revenge, suggesting that Frank should take care of the man responsible. Frank suggests that Lazarus should handle it. Even though Frank claims to be retired, Leo threatens to reveal Frank's dark past to Cassie if he refuses, leaving Frank with no choice but to reluctantly accept the job. The following day, Lazarus provides Frank with detailed information about the perpetrator, urging him to act quickly. Frank swiftly tracks down the culprit's location and prepares his sniper rifle for the mission. As he observes the perpetrator with his family, seeking redemption and determined not to repeat his past mistakes, Frank chooses not to take the man's life, allowing the police to apprehend him instead. Little does he know that Leo had secretly assigned one of his men to monitor Frank's actions and report back. Learning that Frank didn't carry out the killing as expected, Leo orders Lazarus to execute both the perpetrator and Frank. Meanwhile, back at home, Cassie is taken aback by the unexpected appearance of Lazarus and Leo's men, leading to a tragic turn of events. She gets shot, and Shannon is kidnapped. Lazarus and his crew manage to snatch the perpetrator from the police, torturing him to his death, as per Leo's brutal command. Frank rushes home to find Cassie injured and immediately rushes her to the hospital. After that, he meets his old friend Timothy from the Snipper team. He asks Timothy for help to rescue Shannon, who was kidnapped. Timothy agrees to help. Later, at the hospital, he meets Cassie there. She looks really sad and upset about what happened to Shannon. Despite Cassie's anger and feeling deceived by Frank's past secrets, he sincerely apologizes, promising to bring their daughter home safely. Acting on leads, Frank and Timothy head to Leo's house. But to their dismay, both Leo and Lazarus are nowhere to be found, and neither is Shannon. They encounter one of Leo's henchmen in a tense confrontation, but then, unexpectedly, when Frank is not paying attention, the man tries to grab Frank's gun to shoot him. In a moment of instinct, Timothy ends up killing the man without really thinking about it, impeding their chances of obtaining information about Shannon's whereabouts. Meanwhile, Leo, still devastated by the loss of his daughter, takes Shannon to his hometown. Though he treats her well, the girl longs to be reunited with her mother, feeling fear despite Leo's attempts to be caring. Leo's wife, Marta, struggles with the situation, urging him to end the ordeal, but her pleas fall on deaf ears. With knowledge of Leo's operations, Frank guides Timothy to one of Leo's significant drug factories in Mexico, hoping to find crucial information that could lead them to Shannon. They move with precision, defeating the men guarding Shannon and extracting crucial information about her location. Meanwhile, Lazarus, anticipating Frank's actions, orders Nelson to take him out. Unfazed, Frank tracks Nelson to a bar, where he employs persuasive tactics to squeeze out the details of Shannon's whereabouts. At the same time, Timothy takes on the remaining members of Leo's gang, handling them with skill and determination. With the necessary intel in hand, Frank takes decisive measures, neutralizing Nelson. Armed with the knowledge of Shannon's captivity at Leo's residence, Frank and Timothy brace themselves for a daring rescue mission. On the other side, Lazarus mobilizes his men, fortifying Leo's house to thwart Frank's plans. Nevertheless, Frank and Timothy's expertise as seasoned snipers prove invaluable as they skillfully overcome Lazarus and his crew in intense gunfire exchanges. Despite the toll the fight takes on them, Timothy suffers severe injuries, leaving Frank to carry on the mission solo. With Lazarus and his men facing defeat, Leo's desperation intensifies. But as they're leaving, they meet Frank. He asks Leo to give Shannon back to him, and he promises not to harm Leo in return. Marta, who is also there, tries to persuade Leo to release Shannon. She explains that Shannon isn't their daughter, and that she has her own family who loves her dearly. Despite her pleas, Leo remains stubborn. In a pivotal moment, Shannon seizes an opportunity, biting his hand and momentarily diverting his attention. Swift and focused, Frank takes advantage of the opening and decisively throws a knife into Leo's heart, putting an end to his oppressive rule. The movie reaches a triumphant conclusion with Frank successfully rescuing Shannon and honoring his promise to Cassie. Despite the challenges and revelations from their past, Cassie chooses to forgive Frank and embraces him, accepting him wholeheartedly. Thank you for watching, and please subscribe Mango Recap for more video like this and help the channel grow.